Hey everyone, I'm at HR Expo 2024 in Chicago, and this time I'm meeting Wynand. Wynand and I have known each other, I don't know, 10,
Long
15
time.
years, a long time, right? Ever since you were studying CO2 as a student,
Yeah.
reading r744.com diligently, commenting on articles way back. So Wynand comes from South Africa. This lives in the US, and he's going to explain why he now lives in the US, because I think that's an important message, right? He's got a lot of expertise in CO2 and other natural refrigerants, mostly CO2, ammonia, a little bit of propane. Would that be fair to say?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but mostly your focus has been CO2 and ammonia, and you've worked with small systems to large applications involving ammonia, and Wynand's worked previously in commercial refrigeration, designing CO2 racks for a manufacturer, and then created his own independent outfit to assist large organizations and small organizations to transition to natural refrigerants faster, providing that technical know-how that you've got, that you've built over the years. And before I hand over to Wynand, I think what I like about what Wynand does is he's got that global exposure. He's worked on projects Australia, South Africa, Middle East, Europe, and obviously the US. So he's got that global know-how, global experience with natural refrigerants. That's something very valuable today, right? As more and more of the industry is looking to move to natural refrigerant solutions. So yeah, welcome.
Thanks.
And I guess the first question is, you moved to the US a few months ago. Why?
Yeah, well, like, I guess there's a lot of people following suit. We can see a lot of influx and interest in the US market. Um, Ourselves, having had a customer base already, it grew.
It made it easier, right, to
It
transition?
grew, and it made it harder
Ah,
to serve it from SA
from South
all the
Africa.
time.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So moving from South Africa to the US was a good move for us, and we see the opportunity to take what we've learned over the last 15 odd years
So
and bring it here.
you really think that you can bring that kind of unique skill set, knowledge, and it's quite rare. I mean, if you think about our industry, the millions of people that work in it, there are very few people like him that have that kind of actual hands-on experience and technical knowledge across a variety of applications and industries. So you think that's something that's valuable, right? Do you think that here in the US, you're gonna have more customers knocking on the door, right? Working with you. I know you're working on
Yeah,
some
yeah,
projects. You can't tell me the
yeah,
specifics because they're NDAs, but I get a sense that you're working on some really cool stuff.
yeah.
Now, you see that really becoming the beginning of some big, huge opportunity for your organization, Future Green now, right?
No, definitely. I mean, with our involvement here before the move, we saw the interest growing. There's a lot of interest in the US market at this stage. Um, and what we do is we enable and we implement. So,
So
like,
you're not a contractor, you're not a design outfit, but you're kind of like in between. You're not really a consultant. What are you? What does
we're a
Future Green
solutions
now do?
provider, yeah. So we see ourselves as a solution provider.
Okay.
We typically, a lot of our projects we take on is in the era where there might not be a natural solution or a custom fit already, that we will
Okay.
provide that solution to the customer. And then we're a solution provider for either OEMs or contractors or end users that want to
Okay.
go the CO2 route.
Okay, but you've also been involved in developing certain components for CO2 systems, right?
Yeah, and that's what
So
I'm
you've
saying.
advised on it, yeah. So
It's
there's
a
a whole
broad
variety.
spectrum.
Yeah, it's a broad one. Okay.
Taking our experience and bringing on CO2 specifically, bringing it to the table with either application design, product development, OEM support,
Okay.
contractor support, and then solution support. So
Wow.
looking at how can you,
A
what is the
one-stop
best
shop.
route? What is the best route to take on to get to CO2 in
Okay.
a what we call it a simplistic manner. We like
And
simplicity.
and you like having that external role because that you can advise companies, right?
Yeah,
You
we
you,
feel
you don't
that's
want.
the best way we can support the industry.
Yeah.
When
Okay.
we started out telling ourselves that we want to support the uptake of naturals.
Okay.
Um,
So that's sort of where we share a lot in common, obviously. We share that common vision that we want to help move the market in the right direction. And what you're doing is really on the technical side, the implementation of new
yeah,
technologies, which is great. So what trends, if any, are you seeing?
Well, firstly, I think the trend in terms of interest in naturals has really turned towards the positive. So
Meaning it's not just I'm curious, it's more
Yeah.
like how do we do this?
it's getting more to a point of how do we do it, what's
Okay.
the right fit,
Okay.
what's the solution,
Okay.
what's the boundaries, what's the how do we do this, how do we tackle it on massive interest and a fast growing uptake in the industrial space.
Yeah, which kind of, if we go back a few years, like say 5 years, no one was really talking. I mean, here in the US, no one was really talking about CO2 in industrial. They were all talking about CO2 in commercial refrigeration. But it seems like industrial is really kind of like
Yes.
taking off.
Yeah, a large
Why?
a large portion of the industrial space, outside of everybody's knowledge, I think that's not in that industry, is still served with HFC-based products.
So R22, right?
There's still R22, there's still 4048.
Crazy.
There's a lot of HFC infrastructure in the industrial reason, for a reason.
Yeah.
And then that immediately opened up a gap for CO2, which is a definite no-brainer swap out for an HFC solution, and a lot of product development with larger compressors, larger componentry.
So everything's getting bigger, larger.
Everything's getting bigger.
Okay, so that means that you're starting to see CO2 grab market share from ammonia. So
It's
ammonia
really
is kind of like
creeping
thinking,
up.
wait a minute, we're supposed to be friends here, we're natural.
Yeah.
So where do you see ammonia going on this?
Well, I see a good marriage there going
Okay.
forward. There's limitations on CO2 in the industrial space, and there's
Such
limitations
as?
of ammonia, such as still capacity. It's
Okay.
still a limitation.
Okay.
There are solutions coming
Okay.
that will remove some of the limitations, and then contractor-based, expertise-based, serviceability. There is a much larger ammonia contractor base in the US or
Then CO2.
global than
Sure,
CO2.
sure. It's a barrier, definitely.
So I mean, a lot of projects we've seen both of the refrigerants on the site working together. That happens. That
Okay.
it's very, again, like we say, solutions. It's not always it's a one-stop solution for an application.
What about ammonia though? Where do you see ammonia going with this?
Well, I see
Where's ammonia in the 21st century going?
So ammonia at this stage, it's going to follow its route that it's been following in certain aspects, but a big change in technology on ammonia is on the lower charge side of life, reducing the volume and the charge of ammonia, making it more compact,
Plug and play
type setup units,
okay.
which you're seeing, and that's, I mean, as much as technology is being driven and changing in the US in the CO2 space, we're excitingly seeing a lot happening in the ammonia space. So it's a great spot to be in.
Yeah, it's a great spot, and the market, it's a huge market, the US. I mean, if it's anything like what we've seen in Europe, where we've gone from basically, if you look at specifically about CO2 here, we've gone from, say, I think back in 2010, we were maybe 2,000 stores, don't quote me on that, but roughly, to now well over 70, or over 70,000 CO2 transcooling stations, including stores and industrial and condensing units for the smaller convenience stores. But that's huge. And the expectation here in the US is that, we're roughly 2,000 right now in the US. Europe 70,000, so there's a big difference. But the time to get to 70,000, a lot of people, when I talk to them, they expect the US market to do that in half the time.
Yeah.
And if there's any country that can do that, scale up like that, it is here in the US, right? And you want to be part of that story.
Well, we want to help that story.
Yeah, you want to help.
That's the main aim.
All right. Well, look, Wynand, always a pleasure, and I wish you the best of luck.
Appreciate it. Great to see you.